Hello, everyone. You are listening to the Rachael Maves Podcast, and I'm Rachael Maves, your host. Today, we are talking with Nadene Dermody. Nadene is an experienced educator and school administrator with a strong background in educational leadership. She currently serves as the principal of Monterey County Home Charter School, where she leads initiatives focused on personalized learning, academic equity, and student success. Nadene is passionate about creating inclusive educational environments that support all learners, especially those in non-traditional settings. Nadene, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Rachael. I'm very happy to be here, and it's a pleasure meeting you, finally.
Yeah, you as well. I'm glad that this worked out.
Me too.
So as we jump in, Nadene, I'd love just the opportunity to hear why education.
I didn't choose education. I feel like it chose me. I'm a visual and performing arts person. That's what took me to college or led me on the college pathway. My undergrad is actually in music education. And what happened around my third year in college, I was involved in a preparatory program, which is a program in a music department that provides private music lessons to students at a very affordable cost for families.
Oh, that's great.
And it was within that experience that I really enjoyed working with kids, especially in the music world. And so I did a lot of lessons and teachings, and then that kind of put me on the trajectory of music education. So that's what my undergrad is in. And then I feel like the teaching part of my bachelor's degree found me through that platform. And so here I am, ending my 33rd year in a row with no breaks in service.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? I know I'm a glutton for punishment. It's not so.
33 years. Wow.
Remind me, Rachael. I know. Year 34 started yesterday, actually. July 1st was the start of the new fiscal year.
That's just a wonderful, robust career in education, Nadene, and congratulations on that. I am just curious, because you've had that trajectory and you've seen a lot. What do you feel like have been the most pivotal points in education in your career that have really stood out to you?
Wow, that is a loaded question.
Yeah.
I think it's not so much pivotal as I feel like it's a circle. The trends continue to just go around. And when you stay in our profession long enough, pretty soon we circle back to something that we did 20 years ago.
Yes.
Let's just take phonics as an example. We got away from teaching phonics, and remember the whole language years.
Yes.
And then we're discovering kids can't read, and I think to myself, yes, because they don't know their letter sounds, and that's how we start to learn how to read.
Yes.
So it's not so much, I would say, that I feel like there's been a pivotal moment, is that it's a constant circle of trends. And it's one of the things in education that is irritating to me, is that we are trendy in this nation. We get on a trend and then we try it for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and then we drop it because we think it's not working, rather than just adjusting the trend that we're in.
Yeah.
And I think if we could, at some point in time, circle back to, this is what we need to do, because math is going to be the next challenge in our nation. Math is an achievement crisis in this country.
Yeah.
And until we figure out that, basic skill, I mean, I'm not a math teacher, but, without basic skills, our kids can't achieve in math. And so we can't have these students that are 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders without a basic foundation in math, and just keep pushing them forward. So, I don't feel, again, I don't think there's a pivotal moment for me, is that I just have been in it long enough now that I see the trends and the circling back. And, who knows what will be next. But
no, I agree with that. I was also thinking, you're coming from a unique background in a home charter school, and we do have some listeners that aren't necessarily in the education sector, can you tell us just a little bit about what a home charter school is and how it differs from a district? And would love just to get your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. We are a dependent charter school under the our authorizer is the Monterey County Office of Education, and where all of our students are independent study students. We offer two models within that independent study platform. One is a homeschooling model. All of our students in transitional kindergarten through 12 can do that model. And that's where the parent really wants to be directly involved in their child's education, seeing their students' progress, where they sit academically. Are they making improvement? Are they making growth? Where are they starting? We monitor that very closely. And then we have a traditional independent study pathway for students who are in grades 9 through 12. I think in our model right now for independent study, we actually have a little bit of an increase in enrollment while California schools are struggling with, the declining enrollment. Ours is going up. And I think the trend with that increased enrollment is really around one of the first components would be just the social emotional crisis, for the lack of a better way to describe it, going on with students. Many of our students come to us because they're struggling with a mental health issue, specifically anxiety and depression. And that just walking into a traditional school site that may have 2,000 kids on a campus for high schoolers, or even if it's a small school setting, or just walking into a classroom where you're one of 25 students, it's overwhelming for them and crushing. And they're really struggling with the ability to be able to function in that environment. The second reason that we have a lot of interest right now is school safety. To be honest with you, parents and students are very scared of violence that could happen on site, even though, it feels like it's in the news all the time, the school settings, and something that happens, whether it's a violent intruder or an intruder of any kind, but school safety. And then the third reason is for us is bullying and harassment.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of our students come to us because they have been victims of being bullied or harassed and just aren't comfortable going to school. So our model then provides a semi-flexible environment for those students in a much more one-to-one setting. Our students meet with teachers in a one-to-one for an hour each week, and then have access to other levels of academic intervention, some site-based classes, as well as social emotional support.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. Talk about like a niche that really supports a unique need that kids have in some of those settings.
And we're the only, in Monterey County, for us, we're the only program that provides this direct oversight of parents who want to homeschool their children. And I think that's a very valuable program in this county, and something that our authorizer, our County Office of Education, takes very seriously. Having a homeschool program like ours, where you're in communication with an LEA versus a private school affidavit, looks very different. So we're able to have oversight over those families who are seeking out at homeschooling. Parents can provide the instruction, but they have the coaching and the guidance and the oversight of an LEA.
And I just love that there's so many different pathways for kids that need something that's not traditional to be successful. I know, I have 3 daughters, and my eldest now is 19. And when I first started having kids, I thought, I think I could homeschool. Like, I'm an educator, then they'll be home with me and we can do all these fun things. And I'm not kidding, Nadene. It took me like 2 months of trying to get her to sound out her words. And I was like, done. This is not for me. I am a high school teacher. I don't know what I was thinking. But being able to provide that support and resources for families that is something that they want to do for whatever reason it might be, and passionate about, but that they're not having to figure it out on their own. And then also that layer of like the traditional system's just not working. And so how do we be flexible and offer multiple pathways? I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, I think the traditional system is it's growing in the numbers of the families it's not working for.
Yeah, that's true.
And the reality is COVID has triggered all of that.
Yeah.
Even though we were sheltering in place in COVID, many families came out of that liking that flexible model.
Yeah.
Or being able to have their students work at this time of the day or have help and support.
Yeah.
But of course, we want to go back to education just how it was pre-COVID, and it's not working at all.
No.
Chronic absenteeism is up. Families seeking out the hybrid or virtual options or an independent study model like we have, I think, are really on the increase right now.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I'd love to hear just from your lens and perspective, what are the one or two things that keep you up at night?
Well, first, I'm up all night most nights anyway, so I spend a lot of time stumbling around, falling asleep for a couple hours, and then getting up and thinking about things and writing in my notebook. But I think
that sounds right.
I think most leaders, I'll just say, I think we're all worried. Some people are more apt to share that out loud, but I worry every night whether I made the right decisions for moving forward with this program. Did I do enough? Every day I'm busy all day and I leave the office with 25 things still left to do. Did I prioritize correctly for the needs of students and staff? I always feel like I worry that I could have done better. That's really what I worry about. How could I do better for the students and the staff that I serve? Mm-hmm. But I worry also just about the state of our youth. And where they are at this stage of their lives. And those of us, in my age group, we just had a lot more grit and determination. And I think it's so much harder for these kids right now in the world. And I worry about that. What will happen to just humanity in general when these students get out into the workforce? And, you can't quit a job every time a boss gives you a directive. And how do we help and support them to get that back, right? You can't just try something once, or when you try something once and fail, you have to try again. And getting that sense of perseverance, it's just not there. And I worry about how they're going to get through their adult lives because,
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because I do see almost like this kind of clash of the way that things have been or were done, that are shifting, and the mindset that's shifting, like very few people today can say, yeah, this has been my career path for the last 34 years this year. You know what I mean? Like there is this shift of try this out, try this out, try this out, try this out, and trying to figure out where that landing place is. And even then, I'm not even sure that the landing place ends up being a landing place. And I think where, I find myself reflecting, Nadene, is it's so contrary to how I'm thinking about it. And I wonder, not so much in my mind right or wrong as, okay, if that's kind of the wave of where things are headed and that mentality is different, then how does our world shift and follow suit? And what's going to change about some of those established structures that we've had in place that now with a new generation coming up that really does a lot differently, that what will the world look like? Because I don't think it's going to be able to stay the same. You know what I mean?
I don't think it will either, but we always are really slow making the shift.
Yeah, that is 100%
true. I would say it's happening. So I think about when social media first came out, and those of us, who dabbled in a little bit, we didn't realize those photos were going to follow us for the rest of our lives out there in the world. Or whatever we said, or remember on Facebook where you'd type in what you were thinking about that day. Sometimes I'll have a memory pop up from 2009 and I'm like, oh dear Lord, please don't let that come up on me on a Google search, we didn't know how to do it.
Everybody's listening now is like Googling your name.
Well, we didn't realize that was we were slow to the social media party and what to do with that. So when I think about when it first came out, schools, at the time I was teaching and it was like a big lockdown. Teachers can't do this. We're banning this. Well, now every school district, uses social media in some aspect to promote themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
We're repeating the same pattern right now with AI.
Yeah.
We're just we're pushing it away. Some of us that are a little more seasoned or older, not me, I love AI, but people are pushing it away. This is dangerous. Yeah. So is social media. And if we don't address it now and how to use AI and teach our kids how to use it and navigate it in a way that's useful tool for them and safe, we're just in this repetitive mode. So we're not able to keep up with how fast things are moving anymore. And at what point in education are we going to shift that?
Yeah.
Like we still want to hand out a couple of textbooks a day or whatever to kids and
all the worksheets, packets
of
the
worksheets. It just has gone from a ditto machine to, downloading the PDF. So we're not, and we're missing the points. The technology made me think of this, Rachel, not to get off the topic, but we're also missing the parts that our kids really don't know how. We're making assumptions about this generation that they know how to do certain tasks or they have certain skills and they don't. Typing is one of them.
Yeah.
They can use their thumbs very quickly, but we've made assumptions that they just know how to type on a keyboard efficiently. And the reality is that they don't. Yeah. We used to have things like typing class, or remember we used to send them in the computer lab 20 years ago.
Yeah, and the glasses that they would put on so that you couldn't see the keys.
Yes. And, in order to perform well on any assessment platform, you have to be able to type efficiently. You have to know a keyboard. So, it's just another, we have to make sure, I don't know how we filter down. We're making, where we're making assumptions, but the kids really don't know this. Our students really don't know this, and they really need structured support and lessons and instruction on this. Yeah. And then not to reference or do a plug on anything, but it really is true what John Haidt said. It is the anxious generation. If they can't do something correctly the first time, it's just this worry that everybody is better than they are, or they can't do something, or they can't be successful. And if I had my way, every cell phone in the world would be tossed into a volcano. I think it's the worst. I think it's just horrible for adults. Think about even as leaders, because the adult part of education as well, like we have to keep ourselves healthy and rested and going, which is really hard to do. We're so beyond accessible. Yeah. Right. The first year I started teaching was in 1992. Like I wasn't carrying a phone. My boss didn't have access to me all day. None of that. And now it's just 24/7. Right. Yeah. And you have to set up your own boundaries.
I was going to say, I mean, it really forces you to set up your own boundaries and what that means and looks like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think, that cell phone, smartphones, I don't like them. And I am really bad at keeping an eye on mine. My friends remind me, my colleagues might remind me,
Yeah. So as you think about, you mentioned two things that keep you up at night. Just the one, are you doing enough and prioritizing the right thing? And then the other one, some of the mental health crisis that we're seeing with this group and generation coming through. What are two ways that we can move forward?
I think one thing that we have to really address within school are the relationship pieces with students and making a connection. I just don't, it's not that those of us that work in schools aren't trying to make connections, but we're really having to draw it out of students.
Yeah.
We all know in education, one adult whether it's a teacher, administrator, classified staff, can make a enormous impact on a student and the trajectory for them for the rest of their lives.
Yes, that's right.
And I think, the relationship piece, but also as educators, we have to be better about not, we have to kind of filter out. I don't like punitive actions on students is what I'm getting at. So, I think we have to kind of navigate a little bit with kids. Like, we can let this go. Yeah. Because this over here, the student just walking into the classroom was a big win today.
Yeah.
Do I really need to, in the same day, go to this student and tell them they're missing 11 assignments?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I start with, I'm really happy you're here.
Yeah.
It's so great to see you in class. Jump in, let's get started.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then at the end of the class or the end of the day, you can always circle back to the student. I'd love to touch base with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's kind of see where you sit. So that relationship pieces. And I know, since I've been in home charter, this is just ended my 3rd year in this job, but when I first got here, and even still it's a little bit there, I'm working on shifting this culture. If I wanted to have a re-engagement meeting with a family, if we have a student that's struggling, I would call or initiate a re-engagement meeting. And that would be the student, parent or guardian, myself, and their independent study teacher. Mm-hmm. And we just check in and say, how are you doing?
Yeah.
We notice you haven't been here. We notice you're struggling with attendance or work. But what was happening is families weren't coming to them. And as some of the re-engagement meetings, and when I started to drill down, they were scared. They were they think like the principal's going to be mean, or we're going to be in trouble.
We're going to be in trouble.
We're going to be suspended, or we're going to be dropped from the program.
Versus we just care about you and want you to know we see you and how can we support you. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we have to get the relationship piece, and we have to really rethink the old-fashioned, like our whole country was founded on, being holier than thou, shall we say, and that hard work will get you can achieve your dreams. It's not that simple anymore. It's not, that's not going to happen.
That connection piece really resonates with me, Nadene. And, we, over the course of, earlier this year, we had a number of students that came on and were guests on the podcast. And one of them, Timmy Lori, she was talking about, for her, what the most important thing was, and she brought that up, of human connection. And she actually spoke about it at our summit, that was such an eye-opening time for her during COVID to have had opportunities for that human connection, and then to feel like that was lost. And how much then it leaves that gap of, oh my gosh, this is so critically important. And how do we do it even better than what we were doing before? And what does that look like? Mm-hmm. So, I think that relationship piece truly is just the heart of education. And I don't see that ever going away.
And I think our teacher preparatory programs will have to make a shift. Mm. As new teachers come into our profession, new people come in for teachers. Like we have to look at how there's so much emphasis on achievement and academic growth, and there should be. We want our kids to achieve. Yeah. But I think our preparatory programs need to shift a little bit, and credentialing programs to include maybe a little bit more comprehensive pieces around social emotional wellness for students, human connection, how to build appropriate relationships with students, and those mental health pieces, and school safety. Yeah. Right. And how we create that sense of community within the school.
Yeah. Well, this is our final question, Nadene, for our time together. And I'm always excited about this one because I never know which direction it's going to go with people.
Oh, God, it's so much pressure, Rachel.
It is. It better be good. What question in education are we not asking that we should be?
I ask myself, are students really the focus of education? When I see the amount of profit made in our system of education, it makes me sad, and it makes me wonder, is it really the focus? And you can look at it from, students are my focus every day, but I have a lot of other aspects to handle that pull me away from that.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, we just talked about the state testing, with some colleagues of mine. And if you have a test that no one's passing, is it the test, or is it the student? And there's a lot of money. There's a lot of big money in those companies that manage those tests for us. So I worry about, is our focus really students' well-being and health and welfare and academic achievement, or is it about something, that's back in the wings, that's putting money in everybody's pocket? I know we're supposed to be a nonprofit, but there's a lot of business in school as well. So I think that if in making students our true focus, how do we do that? And I just question is that really what we're doing every day?
Yeah.
We say it.
Yeah. That question, in and of itself, are students the focus? I think is an interesting one. And just the way that our system is structured,
right,
begs some questions, even just assessments aside. Having run state assessments and then, all that piece,
no offense to you, Rachel.
None taken. Everybody has their view on, and it's a hot topic. I understand that. But I do think that and that's a question that has come up a few times on the podcast is, are the students really at the center of the things that we're doing? And if they were, would it look different? But yeah, I think that is one, especially after COVID, like you brought up earlier, Nadene, that continues to surface and I think is gaining more and more traction of, we've got something needs to shift here.
Right. So hopefully we're on the verge of that shift. I don't think I'll see it in the remainder of my career, but, I'm going to continue to study the course as much as possible and maximize every single day I'm at work, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I love that.
And maybe try to sleep. I don't know.
Yeah, and try to sleep. There you go. Well, thank you, Nadene, for your time today. It's just been an absolute pleasure.
It's been wonderful to be here, Rachel, and thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
A friendly reminder, everyone, that Parsec Education's updated early bird sale is live until August 31st. Get 50% off tickets for the 2026 Measure What We Value Summit happening February 4th through 5th in Fresno, California. Don't miss this limited time offer and the opportunity to experience our incredible MC, Brandon Leake, Season 15 winner of America's Got Talent. Secure your tickets now at parsecsummit.com.